drop something. All right, I've still got the music. There we go. Welcome. 7 p.m. on the dot. We got started on time. That is a good omen for the rest of the day. How's everybody doing out there? I'm Joseph Geinpan. I'm the CEO of LRG Games and the lead developer of OverPower. I think most of you know me. This is fifth or sixth town hall that we've done. We've got a doozy. We have a ton of stuff to talk about, a ton of stuff to get through. We're going to do kind of a quick overview of everything we're going to talk about, everything we're going to see, previews of a lot of cool new stuff. And then we're going to have multiple guests that are jumping in and out. So we're going to get right to it because we also have more questions ahead of time than I think we've ever had. So, welcome. Thank you guys for being with us. Let's go through a quick overview of what we're going to cover tonight. So, the big elephant in the room, obviously, the announcement that we finally made of the official release date of the Skybound set is going to be in August. We had been hoping that it was going to be a lot sooner in February. Ron's gonna jump on. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. We're going to give you guys status on the fulfillment of the Kickstarter. We have fulfilled some of the second wave, but not all of it. There's very specific reasons for that. We've got a plan that we're going to fill you guys in on. So you're going to know exactly when you're going to get the rest of it. We are going to start talking about our calendar for the next 6 months. So you guys are going to know exactly what we have planned leading up to August launch. And some of the new stuff we're going to throw in just to keep things exciting and get you guys, keep you guys engaged for the next 6 months until the release happens. We are going to be bringing James Sanderson on. I think most of you have met James. He TO'd the bulk of the regionals. He's currently our head of organized play. We're going to have a nice conversation with him about the state of the game, the state of the meta, and just have some fun chatting about what we'd like to see in upcoming regionals and what we are seeing. We've got a special guest coming in. Felipe, the co-creator of The Few and the Cursed, is going to be with us for a special announcement. And then, as I mentioned before, Letty, our AI assistant, is going to jump back in, and she's going to be doing a nice long Q&A. We're going to try to get through all the questions that you guys sent ahead of time, and then we're still going to take questions from the audience. So hopefully the town hall is going to answer most of your questions. But I'm big on staying till the end until everybody's asked everything that they've got a question about. So with that said, let's bring Ronald out here. Ronald Pazzi, if you want to jump out here, and let's chat a little bit about the release date. So, Ron, are you jumping in here? There he is. Ronald, resident Italian, president of it, our business guru. So the big thing about announcing in August, we specifically didn't have an official announcement of the release date because there's been a lot of things going on behind the scenes. Anybody who is a game store owner, like the Heroes and Games store, anybody that's trying to order board games right now or knows about other CCGs, there's a global paper shortage right now. Everybody after COVID decided they wanted to go out and do things in person. And it went from over the last X amount of years, we used 10% of the paper we used in the 90s. All of a sudden, the demand is up to 30 or 40% in 2 years because everybody's buying games and trying to do things in person over the last few years. It's affecting everybody. Every distributor knows about it. And unfortunately, that's the reality of it. There's also realities to do with the tariffs. Unfortunately, the global tariffs that have been put in place by this country are not very well thought out, and they're having a pretty disastrous effect on supply chains randomly because of the randomness of how they've been haphazardly applied. So that's an unfortunate reality that's definitely influencing some of these production problems. Good news is the more facilities are opening. They're ramping up paper production. This isn't going to be a long-term problem. The supply chains are gonna get back to normal. Did I cover everything pretty good on that, Ronald?
Pretty much. I mean, in the end, we are still a young player in the game. We're very ambitious. We're thankfully partnered up with the right people. And so, we're looking at sourcing paper from Japan, from Germany, all over the world, and making sure that also with Cardamundi, we're able to hit the right targets in terms of sort of the breadth and scope that we have planned for the game in the next upcoming years. Because we try to schedule everything years and years in advance, together with production cycles, with game development cycles, licensing agreements, marketing pivots. There's so many things that we're trying to do as a young company and as a young game that makes it very exciting, but they're all starting concurrently, which leads to some issues popping here and there. But thankfully, having a good partner like Joe and the rest of our team, we're able to really find some very good solutions to these problems.
And it's also coming at a time where, because of this, what we internally are calling the roaring 20s of tabletop gaming, even everybody's producing more than they expected to produce. So even all the largest games, the amount that they're producing is more than they'd anticipated. So they're
Hmm.
demanding more paper as well. But
Yeah,
long story short, that paper is accounted for. We know it exists. It's physically been truncated for that set. And we're at work right now trying to lock in the paper for the top cow set to make
yeah,
sure we still want to be fulfilling a set every 4 months.
yeah,
We may end up bumping to a 6 month later
yeah,
between Skybound and Top Cow. I don't think that's going to be as big of a deal. It took us about a year to really flesh out the meta with ERB, and Skybound's going to drop a lot of change in that. There's a lot of fun stuff to talk about that we're going to start seeing coming down the road, but we're going to talk about it later in this town hall.
yeah. Let's,
Ronald, I'm going to throw it to you. Let's switch gears and
yeah,
chat a little bit about the fulfillment of the uncut sheets in the second part of the Kickstarter. That's a little bit more your domain, so I'll
yeah.
let you jump in on that.
So there were some unforeseen circumstances there as well, where some of the sheets got damaged, and we had to do an inventory count to make sure that we are right on track. Unfortunately, we need to print more. Now it's looking like that slot for printing for the uncut sheets is going to happen in February, with the final delivery in March. So it's going to look like the Kickstarter that you guys are all backed up and were fans of, the original game and this new edition are finally going to receive everything. But most importantly, is that you managed to get everything originally to play the game last year. We're all playing. We're all excited to get these new sheets, but thankfully, that's looking like we found the right solution.
So the couple of things we want to talk about. So the
Yeah,
Loki cards that
yeah,
are the last thing. Those will be going out to. I'd say we've fulfilled about half of the
correct.
uncut sheets before we knew about the damage and what was going
Yeah,
on with it.
yeah,
So those people are going to get their Lokis delivered. Anyone who hasn't received their second wave of fulfillment with the uncut sheets and the rule book and
correct.
everything, the Loki will just be included with that when you get it. So
Yeah,
that should close out the fulfillment for everybody once we get that. We
yeah,
do want to say the one thing that's going to be different is the people who are getting the uncut sheets for the second half that haven't been fulfilled yet. There's a good chance they're going to be 21 up sheets, so they
yeah.
will be different than the page
Different
count for the
dimension.
sheets
Yeah,
that we had when we did the first run.
yeah.
Unfortunately, that's just a reality of it was printed on a different press that actually has been retired since we did that printing,
It's been
and so
completely retired.
it just doesn't exist anymore. So we can't actually get you the ones from the same machine that we did the
Yeah,
regular one, but it'll be a unique, different uncut sheet that you'll have. So
yeah. And
um,
then also to thank everybody for waiting, we're going to be
yes,
throwing in
very
two
much.
prize support packs to everybody that has supported the Kickstarter. So you'll be able to at least crack open some prize support packs, even if you hadn't had a chance to play with at your local game store. But we also do remind you that if you put together a pod of your friends together and you sign up, we will send you prize support. So get your friends together, hang out, crack open something nice to drink, and then just play with your friends all night long.
All right. And guys, if you have any questions about it, when we get to the end and we pull Letty up
Yeah,
here, then she'll be able to ask us and we'll
yeah,
give you guys the answer. So, what we want to do is we want to switch gears here. We're going to go through our next 6 months of what we're going to do. So, this is the scheduled for the next 6 months of the game and everything we want to cover. We're going to go month by month, but we're going to take pauses as we bring stuff in. So, as you're seeing here, this is the actual rendering of what the box and the packs are going to look like for the Skybound set. Oh, keep it big. Keep it for the whole screen. That was great. So, this is, God, I hope this gets you excited as I am. I really was hoping within a month we are going to be opening these boxes and cracking these packs, but those are the actual images and the packs. That's what the actual boxes are going to look like. Uh, I'm excited. I think everything kudos always to Luke Fletcher, our creative director now. He's getting a bump. He's handling everything. He is I can't say enough good things about the talent he brings to the table. And he's done an amazing job on everything from the cards to the packaging. So that's great. Starting January, we're calling these our day zero. So our first big fun announcement is you guys have asked for it. All of our convention playmats are now going to be available on the store. So, as we said, we would eventually release them. This is while supplies last. We are not doing a second printing of them as of now. Some will get reprinted. Definitely, we're going to be reprinting the Omni Man one for retail when the Skybound set drops. So that will be one of the playmats that we produce later. But you've got the two Raymond Gay ones, Darkness and Witchblade. We definitely have some of that. If you're looking to get your hands on that and unfortunately couldn't make any of our conventions, you're now going to be able to buy it. We've got our two Cyberforce mats. So we've got this amazing one that I've got in front of me here, which is our kind of more modern painted one. We also have the Mark Silvestri, real classic '90s one. That was my baby. I really love that image of Cyberforce. Um, yeah, so we're partnered with Epic Desk, which is a just a fantastic company. And if you haven't had a chance to see our playmats, I really made some choices in designing these that are different than what you get with a standard playmat. You'll notice our playmats are a little bit wider because we have a wider game. You have your missions, you're venturing them on one side. You've got your deck on one side. They're definitely designed for the wider format of our game. The average playmat is 2 millimeter. I always thought 2 millimeter, like this here, felt too thin. So we do a 3 millimeter, and it really gives it a lot of beef, and it's a very rugged mat. You're not going to get any snares in the design. We also went with the full stitched edge, which is just always something that I want in a playmat. But we did pay the extra money and we color our stitching. So you're not just going to get a random white or black stitch. You're going to get a colored stitch that goes along with everything. And I think if you talk to anybody in the community that's purchased one of these, I really think the quality is second to none. So those mats are going live up on our store today. Next up, another thing that's going to be happening over the next couple of days, we're going to be going live with
Joe, I
the.
just want to interject.
Oh yes,
There are very few of the Witchblade mats left. There's about 10 of them left. And then the other thing that we're going to add to, which is a little surprise, we have a couple of the leftover beer mugs from the Origins convention with Negan. And you can get your very own Overpower beer mugs, and those are going to be available as well on the shop.
that's awesome. So yeah, anything that we have supplies there for, we're definitely going to put them up. And look, if there's enough demand, we can always reprint. Epic Desk is a great partner. So, but that's something about the store. So we're going to move on. The other thing that's going to be great. We are rushing to get you out all of the tournament footage with as much time as you can have before the nationals that are coming up on February 28th. February 28th. At the end of February. So the Canadian regional, all of the rounds except maybe one of them should be up. Most of them are going to go up tonight. As soon as the renders are finished, we'll get them done tomorrow. And then Ty and I finally have a little bit of free time. We're going to try to finish up the commentary on the PAX Unplugged and get that out sometime next week. So it's we're rendering them. They're shot in very high def to try to make them look the best you can. So it takes us a while, but we definitely want to give you guys at least 5 to 6 weeks to be able to watch the footage and plan. Combine that with what James Sanderson is going to talk about, and be able to strategize what you want to go into the nationals with.
Yeah.
Um, there's also we're not going to go into the details now. Liz is going to join us at some point and talk about some charity stuff that we'd like to do, but I don't feel comfortable talking about it just yet without her. So we're
Yeah.
going to jump past that, but just know that Your support of Overpower lets us support some really awesome people, and we're going to give you more information about that as soon as we can.
And
Um,
I have to say that at the conventions, we do get approached by a lot of nonprofits, whether they're inclusive for LGBTQ or they're Veterans Affairs. Joe and I are very big proponents of always helping out communities. So if you guys ever have a charity that you like, if you have a type of initiative, let's talk about it. You can always reach us on Discord, and that's something that we always want to be involved in.
Absolutely. We always want to know about it. We can't always necessarily do something with everyone. We
Yeah,
wish we could, but
yeah,
definitely bring it to us. We're open to hearing it.
yeah.
That's January. That's the next few weeks. Let's go into February. Let's talk about some of the cool stuff we can show. Ronald's on the ball here. Titan Shield is going to be doing our sleeves, and pre orders are going to go up in February. We are kind of using the same formula we did last time. We picked basically just 6 images we thought were awesome.
Yeah.
So we've got, the Philip Tan Omni Man. We love that image. It fits so perfectly on the back of a sleeve. We've got to see prototypes, and the colors on these prototypes just pop so much. I can't wait to see Omni Man on a table as a giant 23-point juggernaut facing that with his own sleeves, that match. We've got Adam Kubert did his homage to Wolverine 75, which is invincible. He's doing the same pose as the first time Wolverine popped bone claws, and we found out there was bone under that adamantium. He put a little, if you notice, he put a little 75 down underneath that as a Easter egg. Philip Tan also did this Michonne. I believe we leaked this Michonne a little earlier when we did a previous town hall. One of the best pieces of art in the set. He really just knocked it out of the park. We've got the Adam Eve art from the character card. That's the common character card, Adam Eve. We've got a rare variant of Negan for one of the sleeves. And then the Battle Beast, oil painted by Ito. That's actually going to be the 8 combat card. So some of you might have seen that card. That was included in one of the demo decks, the Michonne Rick deck. So you may have got to see that in card form. You're also going to be able to sleeve your decks with it. So again, Titan Shield, great partner. We really love working with them. The sleeves just look gorgeous. They're just really fun. It's fun for the first time. Both when I was a kid, we played Overpower. There were no accessories. No one had Overpower match yet. They weren't doing sleeves yet. Everything was still generic. And then over the years, it's just we still played Overpower and never got to have this stuff. So it really is like kid in a candy store, Christmas morning, whatever metaphor you want to use. Every time we get to bring this stuff to you guys, so we hope you love it. It makes it really fun for us to do what we're doing. So, and that's gonna dovetail into our next partnership, which I'm
Very
so
excited.
excited about. Now,
Very
I
excited.
believe I think we've leaked this to you guys before, but let's give a quick update. So, Ron, if you've got the quiver renderings, let's bring those up.
Let's bring those up. So Joe came to me about 2 years ago with this idea, and I have to say, brilliant idea, Joe.
Well, thank you. It's mostly it stemmed from practicality. I would always go to tournaments. I'd fly. I'd go to my local game events, and I never had a great way to carry my decks. I always have 3, 4, 5 decks. I think a lot of you are in the same boat, and they'd go in a tote bag or a backpack, and the boxes would get smashed. And I think it was Ty Bertrand's the first one I saw. He had one of these quiver cases, and I said, "These are great, but like, what a great opportunity to brand it with some kind of cool IP." We got approval from Skybound to do this. So the Lucille was kind of my baby. It was the first one that I had come up with. The idea that the case itself was Negan's baseball bat. So I think we've shown this to a lot of people. We've got a couple other ones. So I think we have the Invincible is the next one, and then we have the Omni Man. So those are the renderings that we did. These are just concept arts. When we did these renders, they just didn't exist. However, if you want to bring me up to full screen, what we're going to show you now is we have our prototypes in. So you guys are getting to see this. You're the first ones outside the company. I'm getting a little reflection from the light, but we've got the Lucille. And really, if you have never had the pleasure of seeing a quiver carrying case, it just doesn't get any better than this, guys. It's a hard top case that's real leather. It's just the highest quality of anything. If you're not familiar, Lucille is Negan's baseball bat that he uses in the show to unfortunately take out some of the good guys and occasionally a bad guy. But yeah, so this is really just an homage to one of the greatest characters and just an iconic weapon. This is really Negan's version of a Hattori Hanzo sword, for lack of a better word. So what's great about these cases, like I said, hard top, so you can just pack up to 5 decks in this if you're using the bigger cases, even more if you're just got loose cards or maybe a smaller, those like plastic ones like we did with the Kickstarter. What's great is if you notice this black rim here, you actually can't even get your finger in here. This creates a water resistant seal. I wouldn't submerge it in water, but if you're walking from your car to a tournament, we've all had to do this in the rain. You have the white cardboard box, it just gets wet and disintegrates. This actually seals it and does a good job of keeping the moisture out of the inside. So we've got our Lucille here, which is my baby. We've got our Overpower logo on the back. Fantastic. We've got the Omni Man, so you can actually see it in person.
What a beauty. What a beauty.
And then same idea. We've got Overpower on the back. And then we've got, certainly not least, is the Invincible with his colors from his season 1 and 2 outfits. So those are the main ones we're going to launch with, but it gets better.
Feels
So
a little heavy, Joe.
it's a little,
It's a little heavy.
it's like there's something in here.
Yeah.
So you guys will notice in these cases, we're also producing with the company. They make these cases called Nexuses. And so what we're doing is we are creating a set of custom cases to go along with each of our IPs. So you'll notice these are very prototyped Nexuses. These are far from the final version. It's just we're just doing this to give you a visual of what it's going to look like. So these lines will line up perfectly. But you'll see there's going to be 5 different Nexuses, and each one's built around your favorite character. But if you're of a mind to get all 5, you get your kind of panoramic image. And this just goes back to card collecting back in the day. You'd collect trading cards, and all 9 of them would make like one big giant picture, and you try to make sure you got all 9 and sit them out on the floor. But yeah, you can just see, this is they're going to have like the iconic images, like the 7 any power that we created for the promo. And each one's going to be built so you can get your Invincible one, or you can get like your Adam Eve one.
Show us the front. Show us the front. Exactly.
The front. Yep. So this is that's a great picture. That's going to be the 8 energy power card if nobody's seen that yet. So, and what's great about these, they have a really cool feature where they're modular. So they actually click together. So say you're in a hurry and you want to just have these 2 decks, you just click them together and they just go around as one box. And then when you're ready to play, you take them apart and you open them up, and you've got your decks in
Very
hand.
convenient. Very convenient. I have to say
Yeah.
that the Quivers guys really outdid themselves. This is the type of product that you want because it's gonna last. It's not meant to break.
Yeah,
You can
these
really
things
feel it.
really just are the highest quality that you can get. So you got your little pouch if you need to bring dice or counters or anything else. If you're not using it necessarily for just Overpower, they all come with a shoulder strap. And then we've got these great little separators that they come with too. So if you don't end up buying the Nexuses, or you just have 1 or 2, you're going to have your little Overpower separators that say Quiver and Overpower. These are going to come with ones branded for each one of the brands. So you'll have your Omni Man and your Invincible ones. You'll have your Walking Dead separators. So if you have themed decks, even you can use these to separate them. So this is just one of the partnerships we're the most excited about. So those 3 are what we're going to be launching with, but we do have a couple of previews of some stuff we may do as well. So
Yeah.
I don't want to take up too
And
much time with this one object, but I want to show you a few. So we're talking about doing these. So this is something we're experimenting with. This is a bolt, all the same features as the regular one, but it's a 3-deck holder. It can still hold the shoulder strap. And these ones we want to brand with individual characters. So this particular one is Battle Beast, and the camera just doesn't do this justice. This green is like a much kind of darker, vibrant, bright green. The colors just bounce right off the page. This is an example of an Adam Eve one that we put together as a possible. Now, we can't promise that we're going to do these. There's some reasons that we may or may not be doing the bolts, but we wanted to show you these as 2 possibilities. And who knows if enough people say, I really want that, or I want one maybe with Omni Man or Walking Dead characters. That's a possibility. That's something in development. And then the last thing I'm going to show you, which if we do this, it's going to be a very limited edition. So you're going to want to, if this is something you're interested in, you're going to want to pay attention. We are going to produce a very small number, probably, of these bloody variants of the Omni Man and the Invincible. So that's just a little something for you guys to take a look at. So, big project we've been, one of the big things we've been at work in on the other side, just to bring you guys all the different accessories and fun stuff like that. So, that's February. We're going to start taking pre-orders for the quivers. We're going to start taking pre-orders for the Titan shields. Let's move into our next part of February, which is probably what everybody wants to hear about, which is our nationals. So the February 28th on Saturday, we're partnering up with Heroes and Games, Greater Columbus Convention Center. We've had the Columbus Regional there. We've had the OP Cup there for years. Columbus has, for a long time, been a big part of the NAOL. So a lot of people have played there. It's a really central location. It's very easy to navigate. It's a very good time of year to get cheap lodging. And we wanted to give this to you as soon as we could. So that's locked in. Go ahead and plan that. But what we really want to talk about is what else is going on that weekend. So Friday, we are going to be running a last chance qualifier. So we right now have, I think, about 94 names that have qualified for the Nationals. We put that list out in the last newsletter. We still have to put 8 names on there. We've got to get together with the NAOL and look at their rankings for the year and get the last 8 highest ranked people that don't already have an invite. So the last list you saw is not yet the complete list. Once we have that, there should be over 100 invitees. We are running a tournament all day Friday, which is going to be 7 rounds of Swiss, cut to a top 8. The top 8 players of that tournament are going to get an invite for the Nationals the next day. I love a Cinderella story. I would love to see somebody come in, spike the last chance qualifier, and take down the Nationals. So the gauntlet's being thrown down. I'm not sure how many we're going to get. I was nervous that everybody would already be in. I'm hearing we already have in the ballpark of 20 people that are going to be playing in the last chance qualifier. The Nationals themselves, our highest tournament was Ohio Regional, which I think 71 people. I forget the exact count, but I want to break that. I'm really hoping we can get over 80 for this one. So, very exciting time. Additionally, I was just told today, Doug Sims was informing me that someone's volunteering to uh, run and organize fire and fill events all day Friday. So what that means is essentially whether you want to draft or you want to do a constructed event, there'll be sign up sheets. You go up and say, hey, I want to do a draft. You put your name on the list. As soon as there's 8 people, everybody will get a text. You show back up, and it'll fire off a draft. So if you guys want to plan on coming in Friday, I can tell you as the owners that don't get to play as much as we would like, we're probably going to be drafting all day. So if you want a chance to come hang out with us, see what we draft, like, it's just going to be a good time. I can imagine there's going to be drafts running nonstop for the entire day. So if you guys want to get in there for all day Friday, there should be stuff for both people to do. Lastly, on Friday, we're just announcing this now. LRG's own Keith Bursack is going to be running a first major skirmish tournament. So if you haven't checked out the rule book, skirmish is our mode where so you still have mission cards, but we don't venture. So essentially, the way skirmish works is you have missions spread out over the center of the table. In each battle, you're going to be playing for one of them. We can review the rules. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole with every rule, but essentially, cards that affect how much missions are bet can't be used. If there's numerical cards like Riches of Don De La Vega or Billy the Kid's I'll Make You Famous, you can still use them for their numerical value, but you just ignore the secondary effect. Yeah, and it's a really fun format. Essentially, one player's trying to rush to get the majority of the missions, but you have to play the rest of the rounds out. So if you win the first 4, your characters still have to survive 3 more rounds for you to win. So you can win by knocking out the opponent or surviving the full skirmish. Should be very fun. So that's going to be, we're putting up a $350 purse. So 200 to first, 100 to second, 50 to third. It's a free tournament to play in. We're not charging for it. We'll have prize packs available for the people that jump in. And it's just going to be a good time Friday night. So we haven't picked an exact time yet, but I assume 6:30 ish. So
And Saturday, says
we'll
James.
we'll come out with a full announcement on that. So um, yeah, so that's everything for nationals for the skirmish. We do want to mention, if some of you guys remember before, Ronald was our business extraordinaire slash everything that he does here. He was having a little fun with the community, playing a character called the Shadow King and playing some pranks on us. But one of the ones he did was he created a AI Hall of Heroes, and everybody couldn't figure out who was putting all these pictures up. And it was when AI first came out, so some people didn't even understand where they were coming from. But we want to do something like that for real. So we are announcing that we are going to start to create an Overpower Hall of Fame. We have no details about how this is going to work, but it's essentially going to be a committee. And we'll run it probably similar to how they do sports Hall of Fames. There'll be a ballot with some some number of people get selected in a given year, and there'll be some kind of honors for that. So um, that dovetails into March, which is the next thing we want to talk about. Where is that going to live? It's going to live on our brand new website that we've been developing. So, Ronald and some developers have been working for months and months now to create a much more usable website than what
Yeah.
we have. It's really what our intention is to create a one stop shop of something you're actually going to use. So, there'll be a good card resource for looking up characters and stats or certain specials. There's going to be a lot better avenue for you to interact with the content that we're coming out with. James Sanderson's going to talk a little bit about some of the game strategy related content. Ronald, what else do you want to say about what to expect from the new website?
Well, the goal for the website is to basically act as a companion app, so that when you're playing, when you're introducing new players, when you're looking for information, there's multiple ways to access the same resources, so that you can have instant access to the glossary, the rule terms, a fully functional search option, so you can search through all the documents. We're going to have a living document that the one that is on the website is the one that we're actually using as a default for all of our tournaments, for the let's play events, for the various game formats. And so then you're going to have the compendium for the cards. There's going to be access to downloadable resources when you want to print and play and do so many different things, just so you can get your community up and running and make sure that you're on top of events, on top of the latest rule changes, and then on top of all of the fun things that we want to do that are always added benefits to the community, because we really believe in building out the community. So that's exciting. And then the other thing that I have to say is, because of Joe's lead on this, we've producing so much unique artwork that you'll be able to access that artwork in downloading it as for backdrops, or actually purchasing it as posters or different types of frames, so you can actually collect Overpower and build your own sort of compendium of your favorite superheroes. Yeah, that Joe has. Those are all original artworks, because we're really trying to work so hard with original artists, not original artists, but artists that also using original
They're
mediums.
original.
And
They're
yeah,
they're they're very original.
well, they're very, very original. It's just exciting to show people all of this amazing artwork that we're putting together, and just the artists are so happy to be a part of it. And so we just want to be able to give access to the community to it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Um, this isn't necessarily March. Just to jump back for a second, I do
yeah,
want to mention that the NAOL, the heads of the 5 or 6 families have been meeting. We've been working with them. We are going to announce our tournament schedule very soon. We don't want to go into any of the dates now. It's this close to being finalized. I don't want to put a deadline on it, but I would say within a couple of weeks, you're probably going to have dates for the year.
yeah.
It's our intention to make sure this year you have as much headway as possible. I think I'm answering an upcoming question, but we are not going to be bumping forward the regionals to align with the launch of the set. Season one is going to be season one, and just like what it's going to be going forward, as long as a set is released 1 week before a given event, then that set will be legal for all the events 1 week after it's released.
Yeah.
That's going to be our going forward. So there are going to be some of the regionals next year that are going to be played still under the ERB environment. Um, but that said, there may still be some surprises. So I would like to introduce somebody that doesn't need any introduction. We have with us tonight the co-creator of a little comic book called The Few and the Cursed, Felipe Cano, a man who needs no introduction. I know him as the man who came up to us at New York Comic Con with bright eyes like a little kid, so excited to see Overpower, and said, "Is this Overpower from the '90s?" And from that moment on, we've he's been a huge positive part of the community. So I'm going to bring him on. Your camera's still a little black like it was when we were doing
Yep.
the test, Felipe. So if you can switch
Hold
that
on.
over.
Yep.
if,
See if
if
that
you guys
works.
aren't
Did that work?
familiar, so there we go.
All right.
Felipe's comic, The Few and the Curse, is fantastic. If you guys haven't read it, it's in the way I would describe it, and you can correct me if you have a pitch that's better. It's an alternative history western where things have gotten a lot worse in the West. The oceans are starting to dry off. There are curses that people can get that do give them more power and more survivability. There's also spirits that are malevolent that can possess people. So it's sort of a alternative, rougher West with a supernatural twist. What do you? How did I do, Felipe?
You did pretty good. That's right on the nail. Yeah, like when when Fabiano reached out to me to make a Western, I wanted to do something different. And then we started doing adding supernatural in there, and to sort of justify the supernatural, I just, threw hell. I opened up hell on the world, in the world.
So it's a fantastic book, and we love Felipe. So you guys remember with the Kickstarter, we included a art variant of a Seven Combat that featured the main protagonist, which you can see behind him, the Redhead, who's one of the people that deals with these supernatural things when they come up. Very, I don't know, I feel very Sharon Stone in The Quick and the Dead. Was that an influence at all for you?
That was actually an influence. When Fabiano first penciled out the character, she looked very much so like Sharon Stone in The Quick and the Dead, and that's why we made her a redhead because I wanted to differentiate the both. But basically, yeah. So the redhead, she's a nameless curse chaser. So in this new reality where, curses and monsters are abound, you have curse chasers that go from town to town. And during the time that we developed the world and the lore, there are more than there are more out there than the redheads.
Mm. So you might be asking yourself, what's next for this collaboration? Why have we invited Felipe on with us? Well, we are going to introduce in April a very small Kickstarter for pretty much one item. It's us exploring how we're going to do starter decks going forward. So for Skybound, for ERB, and then probably for Top Cow, we're still going to have our traditional individual starter decks. Maybe not Top Cow. Don't quote me on that. But we what we want to get into doing is what we're calling challenger decks, which is essentially going to be a standalone box that you buy. It's going to come with two fully playable decks. The idea is to stuff these decks with enough that they're actually good decks. They're not the way we do the starter decks now. And if you check out your screen, we've got a little rendering of what the box could look like. So this is just kind of a sample to get you guys excited. So our intention with this is these are going to be two playable decks that you can play against each other. And the 8 characters that we're developing for these decks are going to be modern legal. So this is something that we're hoping to launch the Kickstarter in April and be able to get a relatively fast turnaround. Maybe even give you guys some card. I think it's pie in the sky, but maybe give you guys cards before the August launch. Probably not, but this is just a collaboration we're really excited about. We have not ironed out the details at all about how this is going to work. Where like we understand most characters have six specials. Non one per decks, you might want more than three. We're going to figure out some way where you have your deck and then you have additional cards if you want to swap cards in and out. But this is just something we're really excited about. So, Felipe, I want to have a little fun for a minute. What's this like for you? Tell us a little. First, tell us a little bit of what's your history with Overpower.
Yeah, so I Overpower, it started with for me back 30 years ago. I was 11, 12 years old. I had already started collecting those Fleer Ultra X-Men cards. And my dad
Yep.
actually brought to me a starter deck and like gave it to me. And at first, I would say that I never really got into playing Overpower until this, well, now past year, until 2025. But I used to collect Overpower like a maniac. That's how I was a teenager and was able to put together like a collection of pretty much everything back in the day. So to see my characters, something I co-created, something that I brought into this world, make its way to like, okay, so just learning about Overpower coming back, that was already fantastic, exciting news. And to take a step forward, and seeing my characters realized and being able to actually, be collaborating with you guys and sort of like, so the redhead can do that, she has this ability, and like creatively it's very, very exciting. I couldn't be happier about this. And man, April can't come soon enough. I know we're not going to have cards in hand in April, but the fun part for me starts, I don't know, as early as possible.
And I want to say two things about that. I remember you coming up to the booth and I spotted you and you could not believe what you were looking at. And
Yeah.
now to imagine that we're here full circle, but not on top of that, Felipe, you've been such a strong supporter, especially for your contingency and your group in Brazil with Diego, Marcio, all of the artists. Just to see the reception to this is just phenomenal. So I can't wait to see where this goes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I'm very excited. Sorry, go ahead,
no,
Felipe.
I just want to give a shout out to our league here. League. We even give it a name that would be easier for Americans and Canadians to spell it out. So it's LOB, which stands for Liga Overpower Brazil. And our league, it's been growing. We're so excited about it. We have a draft coming up on Saturday, and I thought I was gonna play in it because we were gonna have, I don't know, like maybe 12 players, and it looks like we may get upwards of 16, almost 20, and most of them new guys coming in to play with us. So it's been so much fun, enjoying the game. And we've been doing stuff amongst ourselves, like we have some very creative people, like the two Fabios. We got two Fabios in our group, and they're exquisite designers. One image oriented, the other one, he's been playing Overpower for 30 years. A lot of the guys that played for this long know him as bias. So, and he has just the best ideas that I hopefully I can bring some of them, to the viewing course and have, be have shared that with them.
And I think what's great is just grabbing these. It's grabbing these properties that already have such a nice following, and being for us, it's a big responsibility, but it's really fun to read the comics, try to pinpoint what the greatest like the parts that are like so iconic for those characters or what encapsulates those characters the best, and design a way to bring them to life. So it's just such a fun collaboration for us. I think we're gonna there you already have such amazing art to begin with, but the I'm sure we're gonna be creating some
Hmm.
original art
Yeah.
like we always do. Maybe we can get some of these big names to do a piece here or there, but just to be able to kind of take this and design that for both your collectors who maybe don't even play Overpower. We're going to give you guys a gorgeous set of trading cards to collect, and for the people that do play Overpower, we're really excited. There's so many things in this game with cursed versions of people that could
Hmm.
be flipped cards, different things like that that we're going to explore when we do this collaboration.
Yeah.
Uh, so the
Yeah.
last thing, Felipe, I want to plug
Yeah.
the end of the year. We've got an event that we're planning too, right?
Yeah. So a couple of, yeah. So Larry actually came up to me in Orlando when I came over to play Valhalla, and I thought joke he was joking about it, but he was like, "I want to take Valhalla to Brazil," and I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's talk about it." And he meant business, you know. So I've talked to both Larry and Howard Bertrand, and the three of us have been, talking about bringing Valhalla to Brazil as a very special tournament, NAOL tournament, at the end of the year. We'll probably have announcements along the year for that. And but one of the things I wanted to add to everything you were saying, Joe, is that for me, this is so exciting that you can ask my wife whether that's true or not, because it's absolutely true. The night of December 31st, while we were enjoying New Year's Eve, there were like 20, 30 people around us. We were all family and friends. I had my phone out and I was scribbling out characters that I could see in Overpower. That's how excited. Like it was like past midnight in Brazil, and fireworks were in the sky, and I was on my phone, jotting down ideas for base stats or what kind of powers characters would have. So this is truly a dream come true. I cannot be any happier. And I see all the love that people in the chat are throwing. And I know a lot of the guys that I spent some time getting to know this year in all the tournaments that I've been and all the events. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. I know you guys are part of this as well.
Well, you run a great community. Everybody we've met has been great. You guys are also great competitors. Pretty much every time one of you shows up, you're in
Yeah,
the top 8. So it's
yeah,
been great, and we're really glad that we can help build that community down there. So Valhalla at the end of the year. Big shout out to Larry Van Etten. That's huge. Larry's
yep.
been such a great ambassador for the game too. He was the first one to really push us to do the Seattle event. They're a huge community. Getting the Florida event this year was great. Obviously, the Brazil event. So we're committed to doing whatever we can to help. So, guys, you heard it here first. Get those passports out. Make sure they're up to date, and start
Yep,
getting ready to book that trip to Brazil. Um,
yep.
all right. Well, thanks for being with us. This is such a treat for us. We really love anytime we can get fans more involved. We are lucky enough, myself, Keith, Dave, Sean, the Bertrands, Ty does a lot of work with us, the Costa twins. Big shout out to everybody. Ron Peraza, who's been working with us on the design side now. We get the privilege of being able to create Overpower and bring it to you, which really gives us that dream come true thing from when we were kids. It's really nice when we can do that for other people too. One of our community members, a great friend of ours, Jeremy, I'm going to butcher your last name, Provost. He's a really talented artist. He's the one that a lot of people buy those metal printed cards off. We were able to. He approached and wanted to do a piece of art, and I said, draw one of the I'll assign you a card and we'll submit it, and if they approve the art, we'll put it in the game. So even that, we were able to bring a childhood follower of Overpower, and one of the pieces of art in the set is actually his art. So anywhere where we can do that, it's really an honor for us to be able to do that for you guys as well. So all right, I'm going to stay on track here. We're actually doing very well. So that is April. Let's talk about June. So in June, we are going to start releasing some direct to consumer playmats just to tide you guys over. This is something that's easy for us to produce. And we just want to give you guys more stuff to consume and to get excited about because of this big holdover. We're going to show you some concept art like what's on the screen here. We can't guarantee that none of this has been approved by Top Cow. This is just existing art. This is a piece of art that's a particular favorite of mine. The Darkness and Witchblade. You've got Jackie Estacado and classic Sarah Pazzini. I would love to see this on a playmat. So our idea is to do 2 Skybound, 2 Top Cow, and I should have shouted this out while Felipe was here. The Few and the Cursed.
Yeah.
We got to have a playmat to that if we're going to do the decks. So this is something we put together with just one of my classic OG favorite pieces of art. So this would be a single player playmat. Now we also need to put out double player play mats. So we put this little one together. You'll recognize kind of the layout and the design from the other double player
One
mats we've done.
one second. I think I lost you. 1 second, Joe. Where
You
are you?
booted me.
It booted you. Yeah.
Do you need me to hit any buttons?
No, no, no.
Am
Give
I
me a
back?
second.
Oh, I was back for a second. Can you hear me?
What is going on here? There we go.
I'm back. Can everybody hear me? Perfect. So what I was saying is you'll recognize the layout from our other two-player playmats. This is such a great piece of art. The It just kind of showcases everybody from the world. You've got the Witchblade in the Darkness. This is from the Artifacts series. If you haven't read Top Cow's book Artifacts, go pick up some of the graphic novels. The Top Cow universe has 13 different major artifacts that do different things. So, the Witchblade and the Darkness and the Angelus are three of the artifacts. You have people with the Ember Stone and the Glacial Stone. Aphrodite 4 and Aphrodite 9 are big parts of these storylines. So you see her in the back. Most of these characters are playable characters in the Top Cow set. So the Magdalena's in the Top Cow set. Ian Nottingham has the Blood Sword. And this is also, I think we've said, this is the set where we're going to introduce artifacts. Their whole big crossover is artifacts. Their world is built around the 13 artifacts. It's just such a natural pairing. So we just want to get you guys excited. This is just a sample of what one of the double player playmats can be. We are still going to do some of them with the overlay, so you'll get the learn to play layout on some of them. But yeah, just an awesome piece of art that as soon as Luke and I saw it, we were like, that's got to go on a playmat. So those are something we're going to launch in June. It's a DTC model. It'll be through our new website, the same store you guys have been using. And we're also going to be refilling on things. So we've done our initial line of apparel, but we're hopefully going to be doing a updated one each season every time we launch a set with the different for a level 8 power type images. So like whatever power type you prefer to play in a given time period, you can get your shirt with the characters that represent that power type. Uh, just a lot of things where we're really trying to make it where you can have fun and consume the game in more ways than just ultra competitive tournament play. Uh, Brings us to July. July is going to be our Quiver pre-release in anticipation for the August launch. That's when our Titan Shield pre-release is also going to get shot out. That's for the August retail launch. Felipe was back for a second. Good to see you. Just 1 second.
Yeah.
Uh, and then in August, we're still designing how it's going to work. We're most likely not doing a pre-release event. We're going to focus and have everything be for a release event. So that's going to hopefully be, if in a perfect world, on shelf date would be August 15th.
Yeah.
And everything built around that weekend is going to be big tournaments for the big launch of it, drafts, some kind of special prize support we can put out there for release events, and maybe even creating something unique for the way that you get those cards. But that's
We
kind
we
of
do we do have some other things that we have planned, but we don't want to announce them yet because they're still a little premature. But hopefully, with the advent in August, we'll have something fun to drop during the release time period, and we'll get everybody very excited to jump into the game.
all right. And then August, not really much happening in August. So that's oh wait, the whole set's coming out. So Skybound dropping in August. Gonna be legal for the tournaments after that, and I'm telling you, it's gonna shake up the environment. So one thing I did want to talk about, we're not gonna go too deep into it, but so to tide you guys over, we were just gonna drop the set, or you guys were gonna open it. It was gonna be Christmas morning. We're going to tease out a little bit more of the set. So we are working on a series of videos we're calling character spotlight videos, where we're going to be hopefully launching the first one within a week or two. And they're going to be focusing on one character at a time. So you're going to get spoilers of the character, what our intention is with the design, and it's going to go through each one of the cards. It's going to start to establish kind of a language of how we talk about the characters. You'll if you're like a video gamer, we use a lot of the same vernacular, such as like this character is a mid-range character, this character has like secondary support abilities. So we're going to have a series of like introductory strategy videos for each character, talking about their complexity level, what their intention is, what their role on the team is, and we're going to spoil all the art for the character at the same time. And we're going to do that in theory for all the characters right up until August. So by the time August comes and we drop the full visual spoilers a little bit before the set drops, you'll start to have a look at all the characters and can start strategizing on how you want to use these guys. So that's something that I'm really excited about. We've got a team of people that we've been working with to put those videos together, and those are going to be out very soon. That is our overview of what we have planned to tide everybody over until the set drops in August. So, speaking of tournaments, I would like to invite James Sanderson up here, and we're just going to have a little bit of a fun, casual chat about the state of the game. How you doing, James?
Hey everybody, what's going on? Thank you for
Uh,
staying on this long.
It's great. Well, actually doing great. We're only 55 minutes in. So we were thinking this was going to be over 2 hours, and we're actually kind of flying. So, James, if you guys, I'm sure most people who've played in the regionals have met him. James is been involved in gaming for as long as I've known him, the better part of, I don't know, 15 years now, maybe longer. Used to run Pandemonium, where the Battle of Boston took place this year. Used to do a lot of the events there, then worked in distribution, so he knows that side of it, and now has done a fantastic job this year. I can't compliment you enough, James. The tournaments have been great. You're establishing some best practices on how we run things, and I think we've really gotten them to start running extremely fast and fun, and pretty much universally positive feedback across the board. So uh, James has also been the author of our State of the Game articles, which have been fantastic. So James is just going to he's going to be coming out with a new State of the Game article before the Nationals, right, James?
Yeah, with by the end of January we will have the final state of the game before regionals, just to get everybody the numbers to look at before going into deck building and understanding the metagame a little bit.
Awesome, awesome. Give me 1 second. I'm losing power. I just got to plug in here. All right. So, James, tell us what's the state of the game?
Well, we've now had four Overpower regional events to feed this nationals. Um, so just getting into the basics, we've had 189 total participants. That's 189 decks over four regionals, 32 top eight players, 756 characters played total. And then with the 43 character options in ERB, it's a lot of combinations and permutations, but some patterns very clearly emerged. Um, so going to the next slide here, front row characters. By quite a wide margin, Leonidas was the most played character that we saw throughout the four events. 56 decks total out of 189. Total of 30% of decks played Leonidas. Followed by Wicked Witch with 46 decks, 24%. Zorro had 33 decks, 17% of the meta. Sherlock Holmes, 28 decks, 15% of the meta. And then Deja Thoris and the Mummy with 26 decks each shared 14% of the meta. So you're starting to see, like with 189 options, our decks available, this was a lion's share of the meta game. And we talked about this a little bit earlier today, Joe, about, why Leonidas was the most played character. And we were kind of going over, the eight combat, obviously really powerful, but the fact that he can protect himself pretty well makes him kind of a shoe-in if you need that eight in the
Well,
front row.
this is, and so we're having a casual conversation. So this is more kind of like inside baseball, so to speak. I think the design for Leonidas, he was one of the ones I designed, and the intention was supposed to be a little more of a vanilla character. It was supposed to be he gives you the eight offensively, but the strategy was you have to gun for him and make him use the eight defensively. But clearly, a character with two eights in this format, probably a little stronger than we expected. I think if I was to make one change in the design of that set, I probably would have made Leonidas the 7 combat at 21, and I probably would have actually bumped Lancelot, who is like a legendary swordsman, and made him the 8. Whereas he's a little bit weaker and hasn't seen a lot of play. I think him having the 8 would have been enough to bump him. And Leonidas's special card that was the 8 then would have served as kind of an additional 8 for the 21. But that said, I think that probably the reason people are navigating toward it as they're trying to learn an environment is it's what in Magic we call like mid-range good stuff. He's none of the characters like Zoro's on this list. Neither one of them really have bomb one per decks. You can get a bomb one per deck if you combine Greatest Soldiers in History with the Spartan Training Ground by design, but they're not throwing tens. They're not throwing a weighing of the heart and making you discard all your cards and not attack. They just have good numerical attacks, a big piece of defense. And I think that when you're first jumping into a format, it makes sense that that's what you're going to gravitate toward until you sort of see, you get a feel for the amount of defense and how to make combos and stuff like that work.
Totally. And I feel like because he meets all those criteria, Leonidas becomes like a great cornerstone for building a deck or trying other characters or trying new characters. You see a lot of decks with a lot of variants around Leonidas, which I think is really cool. But you will see, and some people are mentioning it in the chat here, but you will see that like as we go through the numbers, just because he was the most played overall doesn't necessarily mean he was the winningest or the had the most top 8 decks. Although just for sheer ratio and sheer numbers, he does appear in the top 8 quite a bit. But
One thing that I think is interesting about this list is obviously we know the power of Harness the Wind. It was originally, you don't know this, James. That card was originally a card that they gave to the Marauders in the old environment, and it was a non-one per deck. They could just put 5 of them in the deck and do it over and over and over again. It was immediately broken. The Nationals that year, it was like 200 people and 198 of them were playing the Marauders. It immediately broke the environment. It had to be nerfed to be offensive only. So we took it back to a defensive card with the shield, but it's a one per deck. You can only put one. We do not plan on making another one of those while that's in the environment. Is kind of probably only ever going to be one person at once that has that effect. Because even being able to get it out with the Gemini and do it twice is incredibly powerful. But
yeah,
that
totally.
said, even with that, the rest of her suite of cards again are not crazy powerful. She has an 8 multi, that's a great card in this environment. But like not she's not doing like full team defense. So a lot of time when we were playtesting, she was not showing up very often. And there was actually a point where we were like, is she too weak? Like, is anybody just not going to play her because she's energy? And I think what's been really fun about this is you want to be able to build a team like the Avengers. You want to have your Thor and your Captain America and your people of different power types. And that's what we've really seen with Wicked Witch is she's on a combat deck. She's on a brute force deck. We're really seeing a lot of mixing and matching. Same with Sherlock Holmes. His kit, he's showing up on combat decks and other decks, which is really neat. So that's just an interesting aside of how she's the second most played character. And for a stretch of the playtest, we weren't seeing her. No one was gravitating toward her. So that said, let's jump over. Do you have? You were talking about kind of what the winningest characters are. Do we have any
Yeah,
numbers to kind
let's
of?
let's scoot through a couple more things here. So we got
Yeah.
support characters too. I didn't want them to be too much of an afterthought. Now it's really difficult to define characters as a support character because you'll see like characters like Dr. Watson and Mina Harker and Jane Porter were also played in the front row,
Hmm.
but not nearly as much as they were played in the back row. So I included them as support characters. So Billy the Kid and Dr. Watson both had 50 decks apiece at the end of Philadelphia, which I thought was awesome to see because Billy the Kid took an early lead, was the most played support character by a large margin, and to see in the last couple of events to see Dr. Watson catch up was really cool. And I
That's
also
cool.
noticed that a few decks in Philly were playing Dr. Watson in the front row, which I also thought was cool.
And that's, I think, what we're starting to see. I want to really give a great shout out to Ricky for participating in the exhibition that Dave did recently. Dave was rolling out a Professor Moriarty deck. Ricky won the match, but I think there was definitely anybody's game for a good chunk of that. And I think the idea was really to show, now that we know kind of the foundational kind of mid-range decks, we're starting to see more of these combos. I've started to see some really interesting things with Watson shifting hits away from Zeus to keep Zeus alive, because shifting doesn't count as a defense. He can still do that once the 9 hits. We've also started to really start to see, there's a couple, we designed King Arthur and Merlin to play really well together. By design, they both have a 6 intellect. Um, we're starting to see in local play groups some really powerful decks with those two together. We've got one in our play group that's a Sherlock Holmes, Merlin, King Arthur, that was winning our weekly event for a few weeks in a row. I think Ty's got a variation of that. He just happened to build at the same time. And so I think the Dr. Watson, starting to see him on the front row, seeing him catch up in the rear, is really people realizing, like, oh, in this environment, playing 221 Baker Street, getting the +2 to venture, and having that spy card to see what their last pieces of defense are is way stronger than it was in the old environment. And I think we're starting to see people experiment a little more and realizing that the lessons that we learned in Legacy don't always apply to the modern environment.
It's a completely different sandbox. And you know, as these numbers emerge, I'm just so excited to see what happens with the new set. But yeah, let's move on to the next one here. So this was an interesting stat to me. I included it in the last state of the game, but I included it here as well. I wanted to take a look at the characters that had the most decks with 0 top 8 appearances.
Sorry, I just have to stop. My mind is blown. I actually didn't know this till just now. I didn't go over these numbers with James ahead of time. Hercules did not appear in any top 8 decks in all 4 regionals.
Not a single one.
That is in we. He was the character we were the most worried about in playtesting for being broken.
I
That's
think that,
shocking to me.
but like that just goes to show what like your best laid plans. Like when you're in the room designing, the world in the amount of players that we have, they're going to find new ways to play the game. They're going to find different ways to break characters that you don't necessarily think are that important or threatening. Yeah, seeing some of these characters here. John Carter in 16 decks, 0 top 8 appearances. Anubis and Mr. Hyde both with 14 decks, 0 appearances. So yeah, very interesting. I
Yeah, and
just
I'll
wanted
say
to toss this
too,
in.
the man, I've seen I'm not going to give away who has it. I've played against a Hercules deck recently that somebody came up with that's I think about 19-3 right now, and it is a monster deck. So I'm throwing the gauntlet down. I think there is a tournament winning deck with Hercules in this format 100%. I'm surprised neither the Anubis or the Hercules. Anubis is the only character in, I can tell you, in Skybound too. He has the Wane of the Heart card, which we generally call a penance stare because it was the Ghost Rider card in the old game. One of the most powerful cards in Overpower. I'm shocked that with that many appearances, he hasn't put it over the top yet.
I mean that's the thing is it's like certain characters you don't know how they're going to interact with the rest of the field when you get them out there. I mean, I think that Anubis and Ra leading into the last event, Anubis and Ra had both were both in the same space, and I thought that they served similar roles where they had like some really cool utility, and then Ra ended up punching into the top 8. One deck with Ra punched into the top 8 at the in Philly, which I thought was pretty awesome.
That's
Uh,
fantastic.
so this is just a fun little thing I wanted to throw in. So let's move on to the next one here as well. So
All right.
if we have the most played characters, we got to talk about the characters who just didn't see play at all, or saw very little play, and some of them are really shocking. Um, Angry Mob, Industrial Age, and Invisible Man, 0 decks in all 4 events. I've put out the call. Invisible Man is my favorite card in the set, my favorite character in the set. Not a single person has played it. I can't play in these events, otherwise I would have happily.
Well, James, we are, I believe, not. I believe we're going to be running some of the NAOL events as modern events this year. And our NAOL events, we colloquially call it the Owners League. Not
Oh
exactly what
yeah,
it is, but the owners play in that league. So you'll have to build an Invisible Man deck and play in one of the modern NAOL events with us.
it's done. I've already done it. I don't have time here to talk about it, but it's happening. Dracula having only 2 decks, and they were in the same event. Dracula was played at one event. I believe it was in Columbus. And there were 2 decks, and he hasn't seen play since, and not before.
And to circle back to one thing we said earlier, James, that is another great lesson about the difference. Our design for Dracula is almost identical to the cards that we kind of made some fan cards for the old version of Dracula and Legacy, and we
Yeah,
changed a few things. But his main card that we designed, we gave it to him in the modern environment, and it just isn't is powerful. I mean, I think it is. I think he's being a little underplayed, but it's a card that when it came out originally, everybody was all over it and it was devastating. And in this environment where there's a lot less opportunity to negate, I really thought that that was going to be a premier card and was going to put Intellect on the map. So it'll be interesting to see. I think there's a Dracula deck out there. Some of these I'm not as surprised. I designed the Time Traveler. I love him, but if I'm being completely honest, I really designed the Time Traveler with Legacy in mind a bit. His like big shtick is to negate events, and their events are more important in the old game.
right.
So I'm not as surprised, but I actually think the Industrial Age Angry Mob doesn't get looked at enough. They're the only character right now that has opponent must discard all placed universe cards. That card is a devastating one per deck in this environment. It's really hard to stop, and there's a lot of decks where it just gets 3 to 5 cards every time it's played. Their 8 is also an 8 multi that gives you +2 to defense for a battle. So, um, it might just be that brute force isn't seeing as much play, but I think there's a deck out there for them. I'm going to say right now, the one on this list that shocks me the most is Van Helsing. I kind of feel like I understand why all the characters on this list are where they are and why people are gravitating toward other things. But Van Helsing, man, that character has got we call it a JW because of the old codes. He's got right tools for the job, which is the 3 energy. He can make a combat power card follow up. Neither of them can be defended by a special. That's a huge card. The Getting rid of all of the cards with the remainder of battle effect is so huge. I'm shocked that Van Helsing is not seeing more play in modern.
I mean, it's the same thing. I feel very similarly about Van Helsing, where it's like Dracula is so expensive and
Yep.
not quite as powerful as the expense. Time Traveler is like Pithing Needle. It's like very specific to like one strategy.
Yeah.
Um, Lancelot and Sheriff of Nottingham, I feel like 3 decks is still too few for those two, but Van Helsing definitely, I feel like, is a lot more
Yeah.
powerful than his utilization is.
And I can I understand like Sheriff of Nottingham is mostly one per decks and they're good, but they're slow. Like he's not doing a lot of speed, he's not hitting with big hits. The things he's doing are very powerful, but again, like I understand sometimes he's a little hard to get going. Some of the designs just in the environment that they're in now, they don't fire in quite the same way. But what's great about that is I think I will definitely say that Skybound with Invincible and Omni Man, they're definitely bringing a lot more to brute force. And I think you may see there may just be the deck that like Omni Man and Sheriff of Nottingham line up perfectly. We don't know. So that's what's
Yeah,
going to be
hard to
great
say.
about the new set. But yeah, Van Helsing is the one. I play in my weekly group on Wednesday nights. I think just seeing this list, I'm gonna try to build something busted with Van Helsing.
I love it. And just throwing it out there, guys, I'm gonna be at Nationals. We're gonna be there. Invisible Man. If you play Invisible Man, if you are daring enough, whether you win or lose, I will bring something for you. Okay.
I love it. The
I
gauntlet's thrown
it's
down.
it's gonna be awesome. All right, let's move on a little bit here.
And I think Ron, did you say if they win the whole tournament with him, you're gonna double the prizes? Is that no? That's
If
not true. Do not.
what?
You're gonna give him a heart attack, and
No,
that's just
no,
not
that's
right.
not true. That's not. All right, what do we got here?
All right, so this is the top 8 roundup. So this is just the percentage of decks or characters who showed up in the top 8, right? So Billy the Kid was in 50% of top 8 decks. That's
Wow.
pretty insane, right? Half of all top 8 decks played Billy the Kid. Leonidas was in 41% of top 8 decks. I think that between the two of them, it's just a numbers game. I mean, when there are so many copies of each being played in the tournament, they're gonna get there. You know, Wicked Witch in 34%, Dr. Watson in 28%, Zoro in 25%, Sun Wukong and here people were talking about in the comments, oh, Wicked Witch is there, where's Sun Wukong? Well, Sun Wukong was in 22% of top 8 decks. And we're going to get into another statistic next that I think makes things a little bit more clear about the power of each of these cards. But yeah, totally uh, makes sense the first few just by sheer numbers. And then, Dr. Watson and Billy the Kid were both played in 50 decks, but the percentage that showed up in top 8 decks was quite a bit off. So, that this is what I like to look at. Like, patterns are emerging. There are things cards that are being played more, are winning more. Um, you know,
I think I'm really interested to see if the Billy the Kid thing keeps up. The giving him a couple of numerical cards from reserve was just really, we're designing to try to make the reserve a more active character with multiple choices. And obviously Billy's like the first 7, he's got a 7 on his stat, but he's also 17 points. So he does pay for a lot of stuff and he gives you the cards, but that's going to open up a lot more. There's going to be cheaper characters that are doing things from reserve, ways to get 7s and 8s in reserve that still do things and aren't completely like as expensive as some of the ERB. So it'll be really interesting. I'm definitely interested to see what the reserve slot turns into once Skybound drops.
Yeah, for me, giving that character agency does make the game more complex and interesting, and has it working on a different axis. Um, the only thing is that when you look at the cost of cards, Cthulhu has quite a few cards that can be played from reserve
Yep.
too, but it just the cost is higher, so you run into that problem of like, well, if I'm shoehorning in a card, if I need to kind of slip something in, 17 points for Billy the Kid is like perfect for me. It's exactly
Yeah.
what I need.
Well, and I think what's going to be great is you're going to start to see people at different power levels. Cthulhu's at 22. He's designed to be a reserve character. Cecil's going to come in at 21. He's a reserve character. He's doing something different. You're going to start to see characters at every level. And I think you're also going to just start to see more frontline options that can pay for it. Rexplode, the final version actually got dropped a point from the promo version. He's a 17-point energy character with a 7. He doesn't really do anything from reserve, but just having an energy character with a 7 at 17 points that can go on the front line, that might justify a Cthulhu or a Cecil in the back. So even just some of those characters showing up, it's there's just going to be so many more permutations of what we see.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of tuck in a little bit more. Yeah, somebody asked in the chat the cornerstone of each deck of the top, the 4 decks that won. There was some crossover with Sun Wukong. I think he was in 3 of the 4 decks that won. Um, but interestingly enough, Wicked Witch was only in 2 of them.
2, yeah.
Derek's deck that won in Columbus had Sun Wukong, Dr. Watson, King Arthur, and Billy the Kid. And then
A
Phil's deck,
very, very different deck from shifting the attacks and tucking, which was what the Wicked Witch deck was doing. So
a very very cool list. Derek's deck is very cool. I know Ty had some hand in helping design that, which is always cool. And then yeah, Leonidas was the cornerstone of Phil's deck when he won in Seattle. So there is that crossover. Sun Wukong in 3 out of 4 decks. I think that I think somebody mentioned he has a pretty good track record.
yep, that's
Um,
true. Yeah, he definitely brings the heat. So All
Yeah,
right, what
cool
else do we
card.
got here, James?
Yeah, let's move on to the next slide. So this is a breakdown of the most successful characters and percentages. This is going to be a surprise, but Captain Nemo was the winningest, like the top. It is the card that top aided the most versus the amount of decks that were played. 4 of 9 of Captain Nemo decks made the top 8, which I think is pretty awesome. 44% of decks. Um, Followed closely by Three Musketeers. 2 of 5 decks made it into the top 8, which is cool because that's such. These are two characters that saw very very little play.
And
Um,
when we released the Canadians, if you watch Jessica Sims matches from the Canadian regional, she top aided with Three Musketeers, and I talked a lot about that in my commentary for that match about combat is people are really wanting to fit the two eights on, and then it's hard to pay for Three Musketeers. But Three Musketeers just brings so much offensive heat and still has a numerical full team defense. There's just a lot there. And I think that's what's so great about a game like Overpower is since it's character driven and it's not just individual card driven, you're not going to sort of figure out what the best strongest combos are and then you just know it. It's like people might be sleeping on Captain Nemo and not realize like, oh hey, this is a suite of cards I can build a deck around that is clearly very powerful.
Yeah, I mean it's the same like the look at this list, it's Nemo, Three Musketeers, Billy the Kid, which we knew Billy the Kid would be up there, but I think that's a numbers game. Sun Wukong, then Wicked Witch, Zoro, Joan of Arc. You know what's not up there is Leonidas.
Mhm.
Like when you're looking and zooming out and looking at the decks that are successful, yes, there are a lot of decks playing steak and potatoes, and there's zero wrong with that. I love mid-range decks. I love Leonidas. Great, he's a cool card. His attacks are awesome. I like that he can defend himself. But like, you know, there are 56 decks played, and you know that amount
Well, I
didn't
also
yield the
think
best results.
if there's one lesson I think that this list that I would say to the community out there, it's don't look at a card and assume because it wasn't amazing in Legacy that it's not. I think everybody's heard me say this a million times in the commentary. Target character may not play specials. I even in Legacy think that's a drastically underrated card. It only existed on Sentinels, Forge, and like a handful Onslaught. I think might just be those three. Captain Nemo has that card in an environment where the average deck can only defend a non-numerical targeted attack 2 to 3 times. You have your Freya, your Merlin, and then maybe you have a character like Merlin negating. But a lot of times that can just not only does that shut down the offense to a character, it shuts down their ability to defend themselves with all the any character cards. So you either have to use your Freya or every attack's going to go with that guy and you're not going to get to use it again. And so it's cards like that that the kind of traditional group think maybe this isn't the strongest. I think in this environment, when I've gone up against it, has been devastating. So, just something like when you're evaluating and building for modern, try cards. Don't just assume that they're not going to be amazing.
I mean, real quick, just to throw it out there because we've talked to death, and I don't want to spend too much time on it. We've talked a lot about characters here in this, this kind of meta game discussion. There's a lot of things we haven't talked about. Any characters, that kind of thing.
True.
We
Yep.
we have our eyes on Grim Reaper. We understand that
Yep.
it is a very powerful card that creates some feel bad situations, but we believe that with time in the metagame, we just want to see how it reacts with the new cards.
Yeah. I
So
I think the biggest thing I'd say about the Grim Reaper, I think this is going to cover a question I believe I saw in the Q&A. Um, it has a wide swing variance. I will say, having done commentary on every modern game so far and at least watched it, I think I've actually seen it swing 2 games. And that's in an environment where there isn't as many options on how to defend it. There's not only a lot more ways to deal with it once Skybound drops, there's also an alternative suite of any character cards for each set that are going to offer a very different way to play And I think you're going to see a 50-50 split. I think you're going to see traditionalists that say, nah, Grim Reaper is still the best. And I think you're going to see people that say, no, the Global Defense Agency, any hero suite gives me a little more defense. It gives me a, an only universe. So like it's creating, I can do more locking out that I wasn't able to do before. I think you're going to see a split right down the middle of that. And that's going to be our approach to how to do any character cards going forward is each set's going to have a suite of their own. So, we're not going to make any changes to it for the foreseeable future. It's going to be played the way it is in the nationals. We are watching it. We didn't create that card, just to be clear. We just were trying to honor the original cards as much as we could. Um, and if it gets to be enough of a problem, if the new environment still has games where it really swings it, we'll do something about it. So
Yeah, so this is it, folks. Like, we this is a big snapshot of what's working, what's not working, what could be working better. Um, I do feel like despite the numbers that you're seeing here, when I look at the bigger picture, I'm really excited about how much variance there is in the format. There are decks that are definitely establishing themselves. The shift deck has really kind of risen towards the top, but it is a deck that has varying results because you end up seeing that it's a very skill intensive deck. And I'm not saying that just anybody couldn't pick it up, but it's not the same, as
I mean, I
playing.
can tell you I've never been good with that style of play. The old Onslaught Citadel does a lot of those tricks. I've never been able to use that battle site well. So, it takes a certain way of thinking about it that not everybody it is a very skill intensive deck. It's not what I'm good at with the game. So, um, well, James, is this the last slide?
No, there's one more. I,
Yeah,
I
let's
just,
jump to the last
I
one.
just, with all the games being played, and we've seen, the conclusion of this season, uh, kind of in light of the announcement of the Hall of Fame, obviously a lot of NAOL folks are going to be higher up on the list. They've been playing forever, but these are people who've been winning in Modern, people who have been making a huge impact on the game. Thomas Keane, uh,
Thomas, I
one.
swear we're gonna spell your name right one of these times.
Did I not spell it right?
I don't think it has an H.
I'm pretty sure you might be
Maybe I'm
right.
wrong. We will just move forward. I'm just
It
teasing.
it, it
I
doesn't
know
have an
I know
H.
I spelt it wrong previously.
He won the Toronto Regional. He was fifth place overall in the top eight in Seattle, second place in Columbus, just missed top eight on Breakers, and ninth place in Philly. I mean, he has had major performances at every single event, and he will be at nationals. So he's someone to watch out for sure. Phil Miller winning Seattle. Um, Derek Bertrand won Columbus. Ricky Sacita won Philly. Phil Keffer has had multiple top eight appearances. Marcel Loget has had multiple top eight appearances, and Corey Sims has had multiple top eight appearances. And then the first two kind of
Teams.
established pro teams are Team Columbus and Liga Overpower Brazil. Team Columbus as the Sims Doug, Corey, Jessica,
Jessica,
Nor
Nor,
Alvarad. And then, of course, Liga Overpower Brazil has Diego uh, and has Felipe, two guys who came in, and every time that they're in a tournament, they make a splash. So
and big shout out. I'll never count out Scott Flint. Scott Flint does not travel to a ton of different events, but I can tell you he is an incredible competitor, and he's wins tournaments and tops eight a lot of stuff in Columbus. So
top eight at Columbus. Yep.
he's certainly somebody to watch out for. It says there's going to be a lot going on at this one. So
All of the best players are going to be there. I'm so excited to see what everybody brings. My, I just want to see everybody bringing new and interesting decks or takes on their decks, kind of playing to the new meta that's establishing itself towards the end of the season. That's pretty much all I had.
all right, James, thanks very much. That was fun. I love like waxing poetically about all the different things that are going on. So Thanks very much for being with us, James. That's actually, we did pretty good here. We made it about an hour and a half. I think we've covered all the topics we want to talk about. So I'll go ahead and say goodbye to James. And then the voice of AI from the sky, our digitally programmed friend. Oh, she's here in person. Oh, you ruined the illusion. Hey, Letty. Letty, do you want to run some Q&A with us? Oh, we can't hear you. We knew you weren't real. All right. Hold on 1 second. Ronald and I are going to figure out how to get her microphone working.
Letty, can you hear us? Yeah, you can hear us, right? Yeah, we can't hear you. For some reason, your mic is not on. You want to try coming in and out?
Well, while you guys troubleshoot that, I do have the list of questions that were sent ahead of me. I do see a question here. So I'm going to go ahead and read the first question that I saw on that list, which is, will Invincible have as many foil cards as World Legends? So the Skybound set is definitely going to have foils. It's not going to have the same amount. We on the Sky, remember the foiling the common characters originally was a stretch goal. So when you open the packs, you're not going to have the option of getting the foil stacks. Uh, pardon the language, but we fought like hell to try to do that, and it's just not practical. The summary of it is, in an average production line, we're packaging around 100,000 booster packs a day. The amount that you have to extend the production line to be able to do those foils the way we did it slows it down to about 15,000 packs a day. So it almost it more than quarter it goes more than 25% less quickly doing it that way. It's just not practical for a large scale production like we're going to be doing. We'll be doing significantly millions more booster packs for this Skybound run. We are still going to have the packs will look pretty similar to ERB. You just won't have foils in the common and uncommon slots. The rest of it is exactly the same. There's a few more rare versions. I think within the packs we have at least one rare of every character. Prize packs, though, is where we're going to make up for it. So our intention with the prize packs this time is, I think I was talking about this a little earlier. I'm getting a little confused because we did some rehearsals. So I'll just say it again. Our intention with the prize packs this time is we listen to the community. We're going to take all of the common versions of the characters, all of the specials for all the characters, and we're going to foil those, and we're going to release bigger prize packs. So 5 or more cards in the prize packs, and that's going to allow you to get foil versions of all the characters and all the specials. You won't. The rare cards are already available in foil in the boosters, so we don't need to do that. And then there'll be the 15 prize pack only characters that will only appear in foil. Every card in the prize pack is going to be foil. That is what the plan currently is, and it seems like that's going to work. So, all right, Liddy, how are we doing?
Can you guys hear me
I
all right
can hear
now?
you.
Okay. So I think this is my first time on camera on a stream. And hi, everyone. It took them a bit to refine me and make my image as humanly as possible. So
This is the best render we could afford. And it's only getting better and better. Next thing, we're going to print you.
Yes, they'll
All right.
bring me to nationals.
What are the people asking, Letty?
So I scooped a lot of questions from our Facebook groups, our Discord channels. I watch you everywhere, know that. So the second one, that after the one you already read, when will you play test for Top Cow? When will this start?
That's a great question. Very soon. So Keith Bursack is still going to be heading up our playtesting. The Top Cow set's fully designed. We've been doing a grammatical edit of the cards for about a month now. We've just been really going over them with a fine-tooth comb. I would say you should expect to be playtesting those probably within a month. You know, that's something that's very soon on the docket. So
yeah. And so if you want to get into that, you better sign up into one of the playtest groups, and that's under Keith Bursack.
So Keith will be spearheading that playtest again.
Okay, this next one is a good one because I have something to say about that. Has Ron learned how to play yet? And I must say that I'm learning how to play this weekend at the Brazilian event with Felipe. So I'm very excited.
Nice.
It's now it's now something that every LRG employee has to do.
I have yet to play a game. And I even cracked open a bunch of boxes with my friend Cameron's wife Ashley down in Honduras, and we're looking out over them, and we were just like, okay, this is how you're supposed to do it. But I was like, don't quote me. Go on the Discord.
And now that there's a question here that's pretty interesting. Now that for the LRG employees, the game has turned to a business, do you still enjoy the game? I think that's more for Joe.
Absolutely. I mean, it's sort of there's definitely some bittersweetness to it. You know, it's it'd be great to be able to play in these regionals. It would be great to be able to go to the nationals. There's the competitive bug, I think, in all of us that misses that part of it. But the flip side is, you know, we get a creative outlet with the thing that we love that scratches a different itch. And, you know, real big shout out to Howard Bertrand. I was actually the kind of the wet blanket early on that said we weren't allowed to play in any LFL events either. And you know, credit to Howard. He really pushed me to open that up and kind of convinced me. And I'm very glad that we did. I think that a lot of other games intentionally isolate themselves from the community to a certain extent because it's easier. You know, it is easier to just sit back and say, I'm not going to pay any attention to any of this and just I've got my vision, I'm going to design it. It's harder. It's harder to take constant feedback. It's harder to make sure we're constantly interacting with everyone, but it's worth it in the long run. I think, you know, I think because we are so close with the community and we create so much agency that we get a far better product. And I think Skybound, certainly, I think, is reflected by creating an ERB set with 43 characters. And as we just saw with James, five of them didn't see competitive tournament play for $10,000. I mean, that's if you fast forward to when the game ended in 2001, I think that's more characters than were being played after the original 9 sets had come out. You know, out of 275 characters, there were really only about 20 that were seeing competitive play. We're already seeing a field consistently. It hasn't just gotten to where those characters are being used on different decks successfully constantly. So, and I really think that's a testament to our play testers, to our community, and to the fact that we're present in it. So, you know, it's we love the game. We still get together on weekends and have like overpower nights, and so that's great. We do. I mean, we even when we first right before ERB came out, we were supposed to do a draft and our shipment of the cards got delayed a few weeks and we had like 2 boxes and we had opened them as soon as they came in because we couldn't resist because we're children. And then and we took Ziploc bags and sorted we put all the characters in piles and randomly made packs so we could do a draft. So then we were just randomly handing out Ziploc bags and reopening the packs where we'd randomize the uncommons. And so, yeah, so we look, we still love this game. Uh, I think it's the best TCG that's ever been out. It's my favorite game of all time. So yes.
And I'll just
Yes.
add this: they all want to play with the community, and every Wednesday at 6:30, Pandemonium, you can play against Joe the commentator, Sean the hangman. There's plenty of other people over there that
Dave's been
really.
going now
Dave,
too. He's been coming up from Rhode Island.
the cleric, the twins will show up as well, and it's just a fun environment to be a part of. And I have to say, they're all good dudes.
Thank you. We try.
Yeah.
What's next, Letty?
So next is a more technical question. It's too bad that our marketing guru couldn't be here tonight with us. But the question is, what does marketing look like now that we are beyond the Kickstarter stage of existence?
Well, so and I this I think we get asked this a lot. There is no intention for us to run another Kickstarter for the main sets. There's other things like we talked about the Challenger decks. We're debating something that I can't talk about. That's another like Ron hinted at it. We might do another small Kickstarter for something that I think people would be really excited about,
Oh,
just to tide them over.
they would love
Um,
it.
but the I just totally lost my train of thought. So the
Marketing,
sorry,
marketing.
marketing.
So
So
basically, we want to extend our tendrils into everything and
yeah.
everywhere. Yeah.
The conventions are gonna not. We were trying to make an appearance at every convention we could. Obviously, we're still trying to get a booth at Gen Con. Conventions are still going to be important, but we're going to be a little more targeted now. Where we wanted to make sure we were everywhere, we were doing San Diego Comic Con and New York. Um, those are great cons, and we got to see people. But I think we're going to really target more of the gaming ones. Origins and PAX Unplugged were by far the most successful. We just converted so many people. So that's still going to be a big avenue, is the in-person stuff at the conventions. We're doing a nice presentation at C2E2. We have a panel there. We're going to be doing a presentation at Gamma Trade Show,
Mhm.
targeting specifically retailers to just. We're getting to the point now where we've brought on a new head of sales, a gentleman named John McGonigal, who's awesome. And people know us now. It's not just like, oh, Overpower, that thing. It's like, oh yeah, we know Overpower might be coming back.
Yeah.
So it's just continuing that. These character spotlight videos are a good avenue to try to get to the players, where they're going to be able to see like, oh wow, this is what this game does. This does really interesting things. I'm more, the more things like this that we can get out to the people. What we were talking about today is it's two pronged. You can have the greatest game in the world, and if the stores don't know about it, they're not going to buy it. Whereas you can have every store in the country know about your game, and if their players aren't walking in the store and saying, hey, are you guys going to get Overpower, I want to try it, they're not going to buy it. And so that's really our focus. Is it's a two-prong attack to continue to show stores how much we are trying to make it easy for the brick and mortar store to hold events and hold tournaments and build a community and all the support we want to give them, while simultaneously showing the players why this game is so cool.
Yeah.
The art, which is starting, we're already starting to get a reputation for having the best art of any TCG out there. And so that's kind of our marketing strategy, is a lot of different avenues to capitalize on both of those markets. So
The thing is that we also throw against the wall a lot of different ideas. There's a lot of potential possibilities, but the most important thing is to still keep the core audience engaged, make sure that they can get all of their friends into the game, and get the next generation of players involved. So we want to target at the next generation. Play with your kids, play with your nieces and nephews, play with your grandchildren. We want to make this accessible. So that means that we want to partner up with the right IPs. We want to partner up with the right cross promotional events, like put them in, I don't know, a cereal box, on a Coke can. There's many ideas that we have, and some are going to be doable now, some are going to be doable later.
if Arizona Ice Tea is watching, I
Yeah,
would love come. I love their business ethics and their practices. I would love to see Overpower characters on an iced tea can. That's
yeah,
what I drink when I game. All right, what else do we
yeah.
got, Letty?
So the next question is, originally the talk was 3 sets a year. Will you
Mhm.
try for 2 this year with the late release of Skybound?
Yes,
Absolutely, yeah.
yes.
If we have our way, we're gonna lock down the Top Cow release 4 months after. So we would do August and then December.
Yeah,
I had to use my fingers. Sorry. So yeah, the intention is to try to get Top Cow out as the end of the year set.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that would create, like we wanted to do this year, a nationals where you're going to have about 7 to 8 weeks to figure out how Top Cow has now changed the meta.
Yeah.
That's one thing to talk about quickly before we go to the next question. One of the things that's such a huge part of TCGs, and Dave McMillan and I talk about this a lot, is deduction, diagnosing. You sit down, you see a deck across from you, and you have to say to yourself, what is this deck doing? You're using Captain Nemo with Mr. Hyde. Is there a trick I haven't figured out? um, that's what's so cool about being able to put these sets out. And that's why we always like the idea of introducing a new set before the nationals. That's a skill we consider. That ability to deduce on the fly is as much a skill as being able to play the game. And we want to see the best competitors at the highest level. What can you come up with for a deck? Can you deduce what the guy across from you is trying to do? So I think some players probably it's like a pull my hair out moment to have a whole set and be like, oh, I've had this deck that's working great all season, and now I got to go and do I play the same thing at nationals? Do I try something new? That's just fun for us. So hopefully we can get Top Cow out in December, and yeah, that's the plan.
That's our goal.
Now, heading up to nationals, there's a question here. Will rules and errata determinations be updated and posted prior to the event, prior to nationals?
Will
Yes.
what? Sorry, I cut out. Will what be?
If there's going to be rules or errata announcements, they'll be posted prior to the nationals.
There will be. I think everything's pretty cemented. The only current rule that's been being used in the last couple of regionals, we'll talk about it here. The only thing that pops up off the top of my head that I don't think we made like an official announcement about is that if you have cards for your reserve character that aren't currently playable, you don't have to discard those. It just defaults back to the discarding rule. Is the character did they die in a previous battle, which then makes the card unplayable, or do you no longer have a grid on your team that can play it? Meaning, I can choose to stack multiple cards for a reserve character. I can draw them. I can't play them because they're in reserve. I do not have to discard those. That's different than it used to be in original. And I don't think we've officially put that out there, but that is how it was being ruled at the events. And that is the way the rule works. So, other than that, I can't think of any right now major rule changes or erratas that have been made. So, it's going to run exactly like the regionals ran.
And Joe, what character are you most excited to play with from the Skybound set?
Oh my God, it's tough. Um, there's so many. It's such a rabbit hole to go down because there's so many new mechanics. I'll spoil a couple of things here. One mechanic I love is we're introducing the first flip character. No, you guys don't know about this yet, so this is you guys stuck around till 8:46 on a Tuesday. The zombies are in the game as a playable character. So when you take the zombies from The Walking Dead, they start off as the zombie horde. They are an 8 brute force character. They have really low other stats. I think they're like 1-3-8-1. And you play with them. When they die, their inherent ability says when this character's KO'd, flip them over. When you flip them over, they're no longer the zombie horde, they're just zombies. And it's a very similar image, just way less of them. And then on their backside, it says zombies are KO'd with 2 icons and 15 hits to cumulative KO. So you have to KO them again. However, multiple specials that the zombies have, if they play their I forget the name of the card, but it's called like feasting on the body something. If you kill them with their 1 per deck, they might have damage on them. Whatever stat they're in, if you get a KO of the opponent's character with that card, you get to flip them back to the front. Now they'll still be KO'd with the hits that are on them because the zombies are being killed, but then they'll flip back to the reverse side. Then there's a lower attack that if they get a KO, if they keep killing people, they get to keep making more zombies. Um, I don't know if it's going to be any good, but it's really, really fun to play with. And they combo with Alpha really well. Alpha and the Whisperers, obviously. And we actually gave Alpha a 1 per deck that has 2 functions. She can actually regather the herd and just flip them back to the front 1 time as a 1 per deck. So it's a really cool flavor than it feels like the zombies. That's probably one of the ones I'm the most excited. I want somebody to like make that an awesome tournament winning deck. So
before I continue with the Q&A, we received this twice since we started. And
okay.
People asking, will the Loki cards be sent with the prize packs that we mentioned during fulfillment? And yes, they will be sent with the Loki cards. We mentioned it earlier, just to confirm it again.
Yeah, the intention is everyone that's gotten everything fulfilled so far will get some prize packs and some the Loki cards. We're doing two to every player, every person that pledged. The other half of the people that haven't gotten their sheets, I believe they haven't gotten anything. They haven't gotten their rule books, their foil, any character cards, right? Is that true, Letty? So they'll get their full suite, which will be the rule book, the any character cards, the Lokis, and the uncut sheets that are yet to be fulfilled. So there's sort of two groups. Whatever group you're in, this next wave should fulfill everything. And then we'll be done with the Kickstarter, which I think we'll all be happy about. Everyone clearly on this side of the table will be happy to the Kickstarters are a very, very big undertaking. If you ever decide to do one, don't take it lightly.
True. And now going to merch, are we having more ERB shirts as available merch? And what about Skybound merch? Is that only coming to the store when the set is released or before that?
So we talked a little bit about that with the play mats that we're going to try to do a little early. We want to do that. So the it's all just dependent on our partnership with Skybound. We've talked about wanting to do it, but we haven't shown them anything. We haven't solidified everything, and things change. As long as they don't have anything that keeps us from doing apparel, we don't know what deals have been signed. Like I think they launched an apparel line, so we don't know what the current state of it is. As long as we're allowed to, then yes.
Oh,
But
yes. If they give us a yes, it's going to be on the shop, guys. You better believe it, because
yeah,
with some of the artwork that we have, it's going to look fantastic. Not just on t-shirts, but even on. Do I even have one of the bags left that we had? Where did I put them?
we had a bunch
Oh,
of
they're
sample backpacks
Ron,
that
you
we
should show
they're at
them
the
the
storage.
mattress.
The what?
The mattress that you had done
The
oh, the
with
mattress?
the
blanket.
Mino.
The blanket?
The
I gave
blanket.
away the last Mina. I think, yeah.
I have one
But
at my house, but
oh, so that's where my last one is. But then, yeah, we have all these ideas for all these other concepts for game mats and different things. It's gonna be coming.
so yes, as long as we can, we're gonna do that for sure.
Don't push us too much, otherwise we're gonna get crazy around here and then release a lot of merch.
Well, Letty actually, if you take a look just over Letty's right shoulder, she's actually got a print of one of the pieces of art from the set. That's actually a piece of Invincible art from the Skybound set, and that's an Omni-Man image from the Skybound set. So that's just we've been doing a lot of prototyping. I think you actually got those from the artist, right, at the Brazilian convention, because those are both Julio
Yes,
Brillo. Yeah.
I
What a
signed.
great
Yes,
artist, Julio.
Oh, his stuff for Top
I
Cow is
signed.
like
He gave
it's like every set he's like a full artist improved.
us,
Like it's
I still would love to show the presentation, Joe,
yeah.
for the Top Cow art.
look. Let's get through the questions, and if people want to hang out, we'll show. Look, we don't have. I don't have a bedtime anymore, so I think my parents are watching. Hi, mom. Hi, dad. But as long as they don't text me and tell me I have to go to bed, I can stay up. So
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to another question that came from a lot of people. Are those quiver boxes big enough to fit top loaders?
The deck boxes.
oh yeah, I mean,
The deck
absolutely.
boxes, if they can fit them. Yeah.
If it can fit, yeah, that'll fit a top loader for sure. I mean, do you have a top loader right there, Ronald?
I don't think I do.
I
Unless it's this one over here. Let me bring it over.
you must have a top loader in that room somewhere. Look, I can look at all that stuff behind you. Yeah, perfect. Let me just see that. Oh yeah, perfect. It's actually exactly the size. So, boop, right in there.
They're asking if you could put it in the deck box, Joe.
Oh, does the deck box fit in? Oh yeah. Let's see. That I don't know.
Sideways, maybe.
No, you're gonna have to go a little diagonally. You could probably fit like 6 or 7 if you wanted to take them to a thing, but if you top load your 4 heroes, it's not gonna fit that. So, but you can definitely fit them into the case if you don't have them in the Nexus. What else we got? We got to do every
People want
question
to
in 7
know.
minutes.
People want to know when we'll have all the video coverage from the regionals, the 2025 regionals up on YouTube.
So
Let's just
the Canadian stuff is up. We're gonna hit the button to make it go live. There's one regular round that we have to redo because we misidentified one of the players, so we thought it was a different player. So we're gonna re-record one of the rounds from the Swiss, and then it's just a matter of rendering. Basically, takes real time.
yeah.
So the commentary is done for the Canadian. It's being rendered as we speak. We're hoping to have that full event up tonight, or it'll be done by end of the day tomorrow. And then Thursday, we're doing the commentary for PAX Unplugged. So that'll happen over Thursday and Friday, and then hopefully render and be released mid next week. So that's the current schedule we're planning on.
And when will the next set be on cardio? The cards.
Oof, that's a great
I
question.
I think it should come out a month
Yeah.
before at least.
I'm just going to say I don't know on that one. Sorry. We're not sure.
This one's very specific. Will there be any chance for the common art characters to be printed without the energy, strength, etc. text and price packs?
No, probably. We haven't planned it, but it could be done.
It's an idea. I'll be honest, it's not an idea that we had so far. That was kind of what we were because we designed the art with the words in mind. So the artists get a template of exactly the card they're doing. And so the rare artists use more of the canvas intentionally, knowing those words aren't there. I'm not sure they'd look as good as you think they'd look because a lot of the time it's just dead space behind, not dead, but like it's not as
Yeah, there's
vibrant of a picture.
negative space. Yeah,
Yeah. So
not
not
like
something
the
that
Leonidas, one of my
yeah.
favorite New York Comic Cons.
So not something that we currently have any intention of doing. Never gonna say it's out of the question completely, but we throw a lot of ideas down doing the giant character cards like the original set had for ERB. Doing a print of those is like a tournament prize. We throw around the idea. We love the metal cards. We've got multiple people we know that do them. So uh, yeah, we're always kind of keeping an eye out for really cool ways to get heroes down on the table. What's next?
All right. I think the next one, people want us to touch base on locations, hints on locations for the 2026 regionals.
Oh, I thought you were talking about home bases in the game.
Not yet.
Honestly, it's probably not going to. I don't think we're going to reinvent the wheel here. You know, our biggest thing is making sure that there's feeder tournaments for any place that has a community. So, um, I think we have not made any official announcements what the prize support's going to be, but I think you'll see 4 regionals that have a good purse, just like we did this year. Probably pretty similar areas to where we did them now. But like, take for example the Texas community that holds tournaments down there with Oklahoma, Josh and Alexander and that crew, Chris Rice and Ricky and the people from Texas. We want to make sure that they don't always have to travel. So maybe we'll do one of the money ones in that area if there's enough interest, or if not, what we're talked about doing is holding feeder regionals, which is a tournament where we put up some kind of prize to make it really fun, but it's not going to be a $20,000 cash prize, but it's more just to get your national spot. So there may be more than the 4 regionals, but they would more be tournaments just so you can get your national qualification.
Great. And the next one is asking for hints on our cons and events participation in 2026. And I think we can hint some.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we know we'll be at Origins. We know we'll be at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah.
Have we decided, Ron, you actually, what, I'm going to let you take this one. You know better than I do what we kind of decided on.
Yeah, so we're going to be at Origins, PAX Unplug. We'd like to be at PAX East because, of course, as Boston is representing. The other thing is that, generally speaking, for what we're trying to do, gaming conventions make more sense. So there's like there's one in Arizona we're looking at. We're trying to identify something else in Southern California, and once we really make a decision, we'll be able to announce that. Which I believe we wanted to announce that in around March, right? Yeah,
That's what we
March.
had it marked as, was
Yeah.
March.
Yeah, so March we'll be able to say, but definitely for sure, Origins in Columbus and PAX Unplug, those are our two favorite
And
shows.
eventually Gen Con, when we can get in
Yeah,
there. Their 2-year waiting list is painful right now. So
yeah, yeah. So if you know anybody that wants to even share a booth, we'd be down for that right now.
just to put it, just so you guys have an idea of the Gen Con and how tough it is to get in there, we heard a rumor that a group is giving up, they had a deal to have a space every year. It's a 20
Mhm.
by 20. They're charging over 6 figures to try to sell that,
Oh,
like it's a
yeah.
seat, like it's season tickets.
No, that's San Diego.
Oh, that's for Comic Con. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. That was for San Diego.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But just gives you an
No,
idea
no,
of
but there's
like,
people that do that for Gen Con and other
yeah,
conventions too.
like
They
how
sell.
coveted the floor space is at these
Yeah,
events. So
yeah, yeah. It's pretty wild.
Oh,
But the,
see. Okay, I think we can go to our last one, maybe.
mhm.
Someone asked if in the future we think about having different tiers in the tournaments for new players and veterans, something like that.
Yeah, I mean 100%. Ron, while I'm answering this, if you want to cue up that art,
what art? Which one
you
do you
wanted
want?
to show the Top Cow
Oh, I
sample.
don't. I don't. Oh, wait. Let me. Did you? I'll look for it on the emails. Go for it.
Do you have it, Letty? You can send him. It's just the audition thing we put together that we sent. Those pieces have been approved by
Oh,
Top
yeah.
Cow, so we can just show those pieces. That's the only ones that have been approved. So yeah, I mean, I think like kind of what we just announced at the Nationals, I don't think that we would necessarily have two tiers for a single event. I mean, by you kind of have to have a Swiss where everybody plays each other, but I think the idea is to offer simultaneous events. I think our skirmish mode is one of the better, more casual formats, and that's why I'm really glad Keith Bursack reached out and wanted to push this because it wasn't an idea that I had, and he's right. It's like we want to make sure we have Overpower is such a fun casual game to play, and kind of by default to build the community up, we needed to have big prize support. We needed to have a really big tournament circuit to try to build all this up and get coverage and get buzz. There's a lot of practical reasons why we focused on the competitive, but we don't ever want to create the idea that casual play isn't what we're focused on. I mean, most games have more than 50% of their players never stepping foot in a tournament. We understand that. You'll even see, you're not privy to our design meetings, but we have a lot of conversations where it's like, somebody will say, "Well, I would never play that. It's not going to be competitive in a tournament." It's like, yeah, but it's super fun. Like, there's definitely going to be a night where I just get together with the buddies and like I'm like, yeah, I'm going to throw a bunch of these cards. And I mean, I can even tell you with I had a deck that I played in the last NAOL event that was built around Morgan Le Fay's teleportation circle card. And I went 4-3. It was like relatively competitive. I really built it just because it was super fun whenever it worked. Whenever it actually won, it was just hilariously powerful. So yes, we absolutely every design choice we make, we also have an eye toward making sure that the casual kitchen table players have really fun things that they can do. And we want you to come out to events that aren't going to be as cutthroat, where you're not just facing the gauntlet of the 10 players that have been playing for 35 years that are like insanely smart, like talented players. So 100%, that's always something that's in our mind. And what I'll say is I'll throw it back to you guys. If you're somebody who's a little bit more of a casual player, you come out to events, you love the community, but you feel like there's not as much there for you, give us suggestions on what we can do to make the experience for a little bit more of a casual player more fun, and how we can entice you to come out to events, or what we can be doing to make your Overpower experience as good as possible. So, um, before we jump into this, is that the last question? Anything else pop up?
Yes.
All
No,
right, so
that's it.
guys, this is a real treat here. So we have submitted, we do auditions. So each one of the artists that we're going to use, we tend to submit a single piece with that artist first, just to talk about style and give the IP holder an idea of what we're going to do. So we're going to kind of plow past the text parts and just give you the name of the artist, and you guys are going to
I
start to get a just a quick little sneak peek of the Top Cow art if you've stuck around. So. Um, Let me see how well I remember this deck. I think Elton.
I removed all the text and the samples, so
Oh,
we're
okay.
just
I
down to
think the
the.
first one is Elton Thomasai.
It
So
is.
this first piece is that. So Elton Thomasai has been with us for a while. You may remember some of his best cards, Hera, the Zeus card Hera. He did the Hercules 8 and the Hercules, most of the Hercules art. I really like Lion Skin Cloak. That's one of my. It's not a big effect, so people don't notice. The piece of art is incredible. This is one of my, if not my favorite, Top Cow character. Black Anvil's a character from Strike Force. Strike Force had Stryker, who branched off from Cyber Force and had his own little strike team. Black Anvil's like a 5 foot tall dude whose skin and body is just black metal like an anvil, and he's kind of almost like he's wisecracking, but he's also a little bit more of a like sadistic mercenary. But this picture just captured his likeness incredibly. So this is just a sample of what one of the cards could be. This text is not final. Don't pay attention to. I'm sure you guys are going to screenshot it and spread it around.
Yeah.
But this is an example of one of the pieces of one of my favorite characters. So let's jump to another piece. This is Kamada. Kamada jumps in and kind of takes over Cyber Data, the bad guys in Cyberforce, for a while. Um, yeah, this is he's being taken over by the cybernetic implants, and he comes up with a huge doomsday plan in the comics. I'm gonna try to not get. I got him so bad. I'm almost saying all the spoilers. I don't want to give you spoilers yet. You're getting to see a card. You're getting to see the art. But this is Cuber Ball, who's Cuber. If you remember, did the Headless Horseman playmat. He's done a lot of art in Skybound as well. Dan HDR's did a bunch. I think you see he's been really good about posting his stuff on social media. So he did the art on the infamous 300 card for Leonidas. He did some of the Merlin cards. Sorry, I'm gonna need a drink here. I'm losing it. This is Chip and Timmy, so two Cyberforce characters. Chip is the resident scientist, robotics expert for Cyberforce because they're all mutants that have been cybernetically enhanced. Timmy is his full automaton that he's invented, and then Doctor Corbin is kind of the leader of the behind the scenes of Cyberforce.
Mhm.
He's the scientist that left Cyber Data. Wilton Santos, can't say enough good things. I love every piece this guy does. You'll recognize he did the original Mina Harker art. Um, you can see it right over Ronald's head up there above Deja Torres. He did the playmat. I love this ballistic piece, just her unloading on a bunch of shocks. Um, yeah, so
A great piece of art
yep.
from Wilton.
This is a new artist that we've just got for this set. So still got him through our awesome partner at Joe Prado Studios. This is Aphrodite 9. She's got a bunch of really great comics. She has a presence in the regular Top Cow universe. She's also got a pretty cool storyline where like she can get her memory wiped when she gets back on missions, and she awakens in the future, doesn't really remember anything. So it's the same character, but she's trying to acclimate to this future post-apocalyptic environment. That's actually a book that was written by Matt Hawkins over at Top Cow. Go pick it. You can get the whole thing in one book now from his run, and it's really, really good and has fantastic art. So go over to Top Cow and order that graphic novel if you're interested at all. But she's another full android that's a crazy good fighter and has all these different infiltration and stealth skills and uh, This is Marcio has done a bunch of art with us before, but I picked him for this character. David Lauren is a character in a book called Think Tank, another Matt Hawkins book that I really liked. It was really important for me to include this guy in the set. He's a guy that works at a military weapons development lab and has become disillusioned with it. So he's only designing like stuff that's non-lethal, but is like really interesting. And then he decides to break out and again, a very cool book. I would recommend going and picking up the graphic novels. One of his gadgets is he rigs a Surface Thought reader into a cell phone. So it's bringing back kind of the classic look at two cards at random from hand. Uh, this is Renault's done some great work for us too. Samantha Argent is from the book Hunter Killer. This is a book where they hunt down other mutants that are going rogue. Technically, they're not mutants in this. It's like a different sect of them that have gotten powers through other means, but it's sort of like they're mutant hunters. And
Mm.
so each one of her cards is the different mutants that they have that work for her. So Network is one of her people that works with her that is connected to every aspect of the internet at all times.
Great piece of artwork there too by Renault.
And this is what I was talking about with
fantastic.
Julio Brillo is just crushing it on these pieces lately. Everyone knows Kenneth Irons. He's the famously trying to get the Witchblade, gets his hand cut off after he puts it on in the classic. This is all based, all of the Witchblade and Darkness characters are based on the new books that have just come out. So this is a little bit of a kind of more debonair, older rendition of Kenneth Irons than the way he looked in the original book. He's got Ian Nottingham behind him. They're still partnered up at this point. And yeah, I mean, Julio just has you just give him such little direction and he just puts together these such vivid environments and such like you this picture tells a whole story right here, you know. He's great. I love it.
That's
Pansika, the Billy the Kid
fantastic
artist, is
piece.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love what he's doing with Velocity. So he's going to be doing most of the Velocity art. Um, if you're not super familiar with the story in Cyberforce, the all of the characters were working for the bad guys at first. They get these things called brain boxes in, and it would mind control them. That's why they have the cybernetic parts. And then eventually they get free, or they free each other from it. So when we first meet Ballistic, she's still brain boxed, and then eventually gets some sense knocked into her and becomes a member of Cyberforce. So this is just representing her in Velocity or Sisters. So this is just representing some of their earlier meetings. And
It's
then this
incredible.
piece I love. So Julio Ferreira, I think I'm saying that right. He's new this set as well. He's one of the new artists we started working with. And I'm going to tell you now, I think you're going to see this guy drawing some of these books before too long because this just looks like it's plucked directly from the page of the new Darkness book.
And we saw some of the previews of his new pieces coming in. Incredible, incredible pieces.
We can't show anything else because they're not approved, but that
Yeah.
should be enough, I think, to get everybody pretty excited. So, all right, we did not keep this under 2 hours. We got really into the fun of talking strategy, but if you guys stayed with us, I hope you did. You got to see a pretty awesome sneak peek of some Top Cow art. So, uh, yeah, I we all wish that we were 4 weeks away from getting Skybound in our hand, but what I will say is this community waited from 2001 to 2025 to actually have cards for the first time. And if there's one thing I have faith in, that you guys are not going to let the energy die down, and you're going to keep helping us continue to build these communities, keep playing in your local stores. We're going to get you as much as we can. I know you're playing with the same cards you've been playing with for a year, but I think just make the excitement about bringing new people into it and enjoy the game through their discovery of it because we've been really steadily growing constantly for the last year, and we want to continue that growth right up until the big set launches. So thank you very
Perfect.
much, everybody. And thank you guys for coming in on a Tuesday night. I always appreciate everybody coming to these town halls. And we're out.